So which sales funnel is the best sales funnel if you want to win high quality leads and clients? That's the topic of this video because there are many different sales funnels and it really matters which one you choose depending on a lot of criteria that I want to give you in this video. And if you watch this video till the end, you will know exactly with which sales funnel you should start and which sales funnel type is the best fit respecting your goal, your current budget, and also the time you can invest to attract new potential leads and clients and close them into paying clients. So without further ado, let's dive into today's topic. If you choose the wrong sales funnel, you will quickly burn a lot of money, a lot of time, and you will get really frustrated because you won't get any results. And then you are just starting to doubt your offer, your business, your sales skills, or that digital marketing will work for you. And the answer is yes, it will work for you, but only if you choose the right sales funnel and if you implement it in the right way, in the right order, and with the right messaging, right? And if also you have the foundation laid out for your sales funnel, because you cannot just build the top-notch, most modern technical sales funnel if you didn't prepare to make the sales funnel work. And I will show you also in this video what you need to prepare. But before we dive into the details, let me show you what makes a good sales funnel. And this will help us compare different sales funnels later and show you exactly which sales funnel works best for you. So let me define first what's a good sales funnel. So a good sales funnel is a sales funnel that produces high quality leads, not just any leads that downloaded a free lead magnet, but they never have any intent in learning more about your business, your offers. To sum it up, they will never buy from you and they are a total waste of money. So a good sales funnel produces high quality leads, while the wrong sales funnel produces cheap leads that will never buy from you. So the main criteria of a good sales funnel is the cost per qualified lead, not the cost per lead. Cost per lead is for beginners who have no idea what a sales funnel should do. But if you are a bit more advanced, or if you watch this video, you already know cost per lead, cost per click, this all doesn't matter. What really matters is cost per qualified lead. So the next thing is that your sales funnel gives you a return on your investment, or in other words, ROAS, return on ad spend. So it must be profitable. You want to put in $1 and you want to get $2 to $10 out of it. Then this will make you more money, and then it makes sense from a business perspective to scale the sales funnel. However, most sales funnels burn money because they either didn't prepare everything you need to have a solid foundation for your sales funnel, or people are just choosing the wrong sales funnel to start with, and then they burn their budget faster than they can earn it. In other words, the sales funnel just burns your money and doesn't generate any profit. So a good sales funnel makes you money and doesn't just burn your money. And the third criteria is that your sales funnel produces enough data so that you don't just have a lot of data, but you can make smart decisions based on the data. Because if you look at the typical sales funnel, like you have one ad and then you have a long form landing page, and well, if you get some leads, cool, but in most cases you don't get a lot of leads before you didn't implement your sales funnel. But with only an ad and a landing page, you don't have enough data, and it's so hard to optimize anything in this funnel because you don't even know why your page visitors drop off. And a good sales funnel gives you enough data so you can optimize with data-driven methods. All right, so that's what makes a good sales funnel. And I also want to show you what every sales funnel needs to do so that you have an end-to-end sales system, because it's not just about lead generation, it's about getting paying clients. And to get paying clients, you need to move strangers to paying customers. And that's what your sales funnel does. And the only difference between all the sales funnel is how much automation you have during this sales process. Okay, so for example, I will show you one funnel that's the fastest funnel to get you high quality leads so that you can close them into paying clients. So the lead generation is automated, but the sales closing part, the nurturing part, the closing process, that's a manual process. And that's the right funnel if you don't have a high budget, like you can invest $30 to $50 or euros or pounds per day, right? And the nurturing and the other parts of your sales funnel, this is a manual process. But we will dive into the details in a few minutes. Let me just show you everything that you need to accomplish while a lead gets hooked by your ad and nurtured down to become a paying client, because there are specific things you need to accomplish with your sales funnel, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. So the first thing you need to accomplish, and without this nothing really ever matters because your whole sales funnel won't work, is you need to catch the attention of the right people. And that's the important difference, attention of the right people. So you can post cat videos or any crazy imagery or any crazy content that just catches the attention of everybody and anyone. But if you are not catching the attention of the right people, your whole sales funnel will be very inefficient. Which means, in other words, you are burning money because people see your ad and you pay for ad impressions, and they will never become a lead, book a call, or buy from you because it's simply the wrong people. So catching the attention of the right people with the right visuals and the right message in the hook of your ad, that's absolutely critical. So that's the first thing you really need to get right. The second thing is you need to have a hook with relevant content. You need to create relevancy. What that means is you need to make sure that you don't just catch the attention of people, but you also retain the attention so people start listening to you. And you catch the attention with like fancy things that are related to your offer, but they also need to have relevancy. That means you either need to talk about a problem that is a current pain point of your target audience and the problem you can solve, or you talk about a solution your target clients desire and a solution you can help them get, right? Or you can talk about other things and educate them about why they have a problem if you want to talk to an unaware audience, which I would not recommend because they are too far away from a purchase, right? You need to nurture them, educate them over a long time. So I would recommend you start with the low-hanging fruits. That's why you either start talking about a desired solution or a problem that you can solve with your offer. And then if you catch the attention and create relevancy with a problem or a desired solution, now you catch the attention of the right people and you retain the attention so that they join or enter your funnel. And this is what happens with the next steps that I'm going to show you. So the next step is that you need to create an interest in your topic. And typically the interest is created by either you talking about the root cause of the problem you mentioned initially, or by talking about how the solution can be created or can be achieved, right? That creates interest. If you mention, for example, a new product or service, a new mechanism, like marketeers typically say. So the mechanism is basically how your clients get the problem solved or how they can get the desired solution, okay? So the thing that you introduce that helps them get this result or move away from the pain they are currently having. The next thing is to create urgency. So you need to create a sense of urgency because everyone is a master of procrastination. If you don't tell them why it's important to act now, like they will just listen to the first 5 to 15 seconds and then drop off because the next attention catching ad or content is waiting for them, right? So you need to retain the attention by creating interest and urgency so that they continue like listening to your ad and go to the next steps in your sales funnel. So the next thing then is you need to create desire. Desire is typically created by showing them that it's absolutely doable to solve the problem or get the desired solution. This typically happens when you, for example, show case studies from other clients who achieved this desired goal or who solved the problem, right? The desire is created by showing them, hey, you can achieve this. This can be your goal. This can be your near future. And others achieved it in the same way. They are similar like you. And they all use this mechanism that you introduced that creates the interest. Okay. So after you created desire, the next thing is that you want to build trust. And trust is the currency of marketing and sales. You don't just want to build trust at this stage of your sales funnel. You want to build trust along the whole process, the whole sales process. Every touch point needs to have trust elements incorporated. So that means you want to show case studies. You want to talk about like your experience in the context of the problem and the solution, like which results you've gotten for how many clients or what you achieved for yourself initially, right? So trust is very important. Trust can also be created by offering guarantees. It can be created by providing a lot of value up front. For example, creating a video that helps you find the perfect fit sales funnel for you specifically, right? So you can create trust by showing case studies, having guarantees, or by showing competency with like a video like this, an explain video. Okay, so after you've created trust at every touch point, remember this is really the number one thing you need to do. Otherwise, when people don't trust you, they will not just move on to the next step, they will never buy from you, okay? So then you wanna have a USP, a unique selling proposition, something that makes you stand out from your competitors, right? Because if you sell the same services or products that everyone else sells in the marketplace, your product or service is comparable, and in the end, it's just about the price. So you want to make sure that you have something unique. It can be you as a person with your experience. It can be features or attributes of your products or services. It can be anything that has a differentiation against your competitors and transports a value for your client, okay? So that's your USP, because then your products and services cannot be compared because you have something unique. And that allows you to charge much higher prices, which is also a competitive advantage. You should not be the cheapest. You should not compete on pricing. You should compete on value, and you should set yourself and your business up from your competitors by having such a USP. Then selling will be a lot easier. So the next thing is value. And not just value, but value in relation to the price you are going to charge. For example, if you are able to generate $10,000 for a client and you are just charging $5,000, then it's a no-brainer offer. However, of course, I'm totally aware it's not as easy as it sounds. But it doesn't always have to be a monetary value. It can also be an emotional value. It can be any other goal that is perceived as a high value. For example, finding a new partner, saving your marriage, saving your business, getting back to profits if you're currently making a loss, implementing a sales funnel that gets you new leads consistently so that you can convert more clients, right? All these things have high value. And if the price is just a fraction of it, then your offer is perceived as a good deal, basically, okay? Something people want to say yes to because it makes financially sense for them. So then the next thing is the purchase decision. This is typically made in a sales call. And in the sales call, it's important that you repeat all these check boxes. You need to repeat all these steps in a sales call. That's why a psychologically optimized sales script is very important, because without all these boxes being ticked in the mind of your prospect or your potential client, there will be no purchase. So you need to have a very good sales script so that you can tick all the boxes, and that makes your client buy. If you have a good offer, of course, right? But the value of your offer is presented by showing the value compared to the price, okay? That's the perceived value, and that's what people need to rationally decide for your offer, while the main purchase decision is done emotionally. And that's why you need all the other steps that I talked about previously. All right, so this makes a good sales funnel, and this is what you need to turn a stranger into a paying customer. And now I will show you the next steps, which sales funnels exist and how you should choose them to be the perfect fit sales funnel for your business and for your resources. Good, so we talked about psychological criteria of a good sales funnel. Now let's talk about some technical criteria for a sales funnel that can use AI optimization, because in these days, you don't have so many options, specifically when it comes to targeting on Google or Meta. You need to use and leverage AI optimization. And to leverage AI optimization to target the right potential clients for your products and services, you need to respect some things. And these things are, you need to have a minimum of 20 conversions per week. And that's important to say, because if you have a limited budget and you cannot spend €1,000, dollars, or pounds per day to get like 20 sales calls booked per week, where a sales call costs you anywhere between $150 and $350, then you will not get enough conversions. And if you don't have enough conversions, you cannot train the AI with enough data, so your targeting is totally off. In other words, you are burning your money for showing your ads to the wrong people. This cannot be your intent, but this is what the advertising platforms will do if you don't feed them with enough conversions. And the next thing is, you need to feed them with enough quality conversions. You want to report only the right people back to the pixel and train the algorithm with the right people. Because otherwise, if you don't report the right people as a conversion and you also report like trash leads, guess what happens? The AI will work against you because you will get just more trash leads. That's how the AI and the algorithms work. So the next thing is quality over quantity, right? That's what I just said. Because if you just focus on getting more leads without looking at the quality and filtering out the wrong people, your targeting gets worse, your results get worse. You might get a lot of leads, but the quality is poor, you cannot close them. So you need to make sure that you appreciate quality over quantity. Okay, so you only want to count high quality leads as a lead. So then the next step is your offer and your positioning. This is priority number one. What you want to sell and what's your offer that you promote in your advertisement, in your ads, in your marketing, and how you position it, like to whom you sell it and which problem you solve and what's the desired outcome that people can get with your offer. That's priority number one because this makes or breaks your sales funnel. Look at it like this. You can sell tasty burgers at the exit of a restaurant. If people already had a dinner, they are not hungry anymore. So it's the wrong timing and it's the wrong audience. You cannot sell burgers to people who already had dinner, right? So you want to sell the right offer where there is a high demand to the right people. That's offer and positioning, right? The best marketing cannot fix a poor offer. That's why you want to focus on a good offer, good positioning, and then your marketing will be a lot easier to make it profitable and generate leads and clients for you. So the sales funnel structure, what I'm going to show you in this video, is priority 2. Because with the wrong sales funnel structure, like the technical criteria is violated, you cannot get enough conversions, targeting doesn't work, etc. And also depending on how fast people typically convert, like your sales cycle and the duration of your sales cycle, you need to choose the right sales funnel. Otherwise, it won't work, right? And you also need to respect your budget. Otherwise, well, it doesn't work. But again, if you don't have a good offer and if you don't have a unique market positioning with a clear value proposition for your prospective clients, you can have the right sales funnel. It still won't work. Okay. Yeah. So again, you have to respect your sales cycles and choose the right funnel that's a perfect fit for the duration of your sales cycles, of your typical sales cycles. And then, of course, you need to respect your resources if you have more time than money or if you have more money than time, right? So then there are different sales funnels that are better fit depending on the resources available to you. Now let's have a look into the details of the funnels. By far, the fastest way to get quality leads and clients is a so-called MVP funnel. That's a very short funnel and it's designed to automate your lead generation process and the nurturing and the sales process and the qualification process towards a sales qualified lead, which is a person who jumps on a call, wants to get a proposal and buy from you. This is executed automatically by sales reps. Typically by setters and closers, you will have a 2-step sales closing process if you use this MVP funnel. And this is designed for budgets between 30 and 75 to 100 euros or dollars per day, because then you will get enough conversions so that the algorithm can target the right people for you. And this funnel typically looks like this. You have an ad, right? And by the way, the ad is the same for all of the funnels, right? You start with a call out to the right audience and you catch their attention with a problem or with a desired solution, right? These are your hooks. Then you have an authority statement to build some trust or a case study, and you mention your offer. So what you want to sell, the core offer of your business, the thing you want to sell them later in your funnel. If you miss this and promote a lead magnet right out of the gate in your ad, you will just attract freebie seekers. So you need to have your offer mentioned, your core offer, as second part of your ad, right after you talked about for whom it is and which problem it solves. And then the next part is a trust element. Again, you can mention another case study and you mention the next step offer, which can be a lead magnet, like it can be something to download, it can be a free trial, it can be a mini workshop, it can be a calculator, a checklist, something that has high value, but it must be related to your core offer. Okay, don't do the mistake and just build a lead magnet that talks about dogs and cats because it's trendy and people just want to consume this type of content. But if you want to sell let's say digital marketing services. These people sign up for your lead magnet, but they will never ever buy because they haven't shown an intent and an interest in your core offer by watching this video. Okay, so you need to make sure that you position your next step offer as the first step towards the ultimate goal that can be achieved with your core offer. Okay, very important, very, very important. And then from here, you bring them on a short form. This can be an instant form on Meta. It can be a short jot form, for example. But the very important part is that you have your next step offer mentioned as a headline, and you have a gatekeeper on this form, which is a set of questions with conditional logic to qualify the right people. And only, really only, if the person answered these questions correctly, then it's a qualified lead, and only then you report this lead back to the AI, to the algorithm of Meta, Google, depending on where you put your ads on. And this will improve your targeting. If you don't have this gatekeeper, well, you are just optimizing for the wrong people. And this is also what all the other funnels have in common. So the ad is always the same. The gatekeeper needs to be before your optimization goal. So if you optimize for leads, you need to have your gatekeeper questions before the lead conversion. If you optimize for schedule, you need to have the gatekeeper eventually on your calendar form to filter out the wrong people and don't allow them to book a call. Otherwise, you will pollute your pixel and you will train and condition the algorithm to target the wrong people. Okay. So then after people signed up for this lead magnet, after you framed them and positioned your lead magnet as the first step to achieve this ultimate result, and this is what people get with your core offer, then you can also show them a calendar where they can book a call. If people are really motivated to get the result you talked about in the ad, they will also book a call, right? Typically, that's around 10% conversion rate from lead magnet to call, but that's good enough. That's how you get here leads from anywhere from, I really saw leads from $5 to $55, right? And then here from $50 to $550 per sales call, okay? And of course, your offer needs to be high ticket so that you can pay back this ad spend and make a substantial return on investment. Okay, so that's the MVP funnel, really the fastest funnel to get you high quality leads and clients. That is the best fit if you want to start with paid ads, want to validate your offer, your positioning, your lead magnet, and your value proposition. Okay, so this is the fastest way to validate it before you expand to another funnel and automate the other parts of your sales process. So now let's look at the next sales funnel. And the next sales funnel is a webinar funnel. And the webinar funnel is a very good funnel because it retains the attention of people in the webinar, typically from 20 to 60 minutes. And if people give you so much of their time, which is their most valuable resource typically, then they show a high intent. And then if they jump on a sales call, which is then the next step offer after the webinar, typically they are very qualified and they show a high intent. So your sales closing rate, your conversion rate in the sales call will be anywhere from 30 to 60%. So the funnel looks like this. You have an ad, and remember the ad has the same structure that I talked about in the previous section of this video. And then you have, again, a sign-up form. You need to mention the outcome, the result of the webinar outcome, okay? And you need to have the gatekeeper questions here to filter out the wrong people and only let the right people enter the webinar. I mean, I don't care. You can also let the wrong people enter the webinar. That's not a problem. The problem is if you report back the wrong people as a conversion to the algorithm, because again, then you train the algorithm with wrong data. So then you have your live webinar here. Okay, it can be a live webinar or it can be a recorded webinar. Typically, you start with a live webinar, you record it, and then you just put the recorded webinar here on autopilot. But I recommend you do it first manually because that allows you also to optimize your webinar. This funnel is really advanced because you need to be really, really good in presenting. Okay, you need to build the content of your webinar based on the hero's journey. You need to specifically guide your audience from where they are right now, right? From the problem you talked about in the hook of the ad to the desired solution. Okay, you should not pitch your offer too early. You first need to help them understand how they can turn their problem into the desired solution. And then at the end, you can pitch your offer because now they see that you understand the topic, that you are an authority in the market, that they can trust you, and that they can believe you. You should also pitch some case studies to create trust. Okay, remember, trust is the number one currency to drive conversions. And from there, they can schedule a call on a calendar, and then it's the same mechanism. This is a sales call, and you sell them the offer, the final offer, to get them the result. Okay, that's a webinar funnel, live webinar or recorded webinar. I recommend not starting with this, because if this mechanism here doesn't work, which is basically your MVP funnel, and then this part here is the manual process executed by setters and closers, right? The education happens on a call. But if this doesn't happen, you will get people in your webinar for sure. But very often it's the wrong people, and you have no chance to validate that early, because the webinar only happens once a month, for example. Then you have 100 people in the webinar. And then when you have the webinar and you pay, let's say, $20 per sign up, you spend $2,000, and you see, hey, the webinar is full of the wrong people, then you burn $2,000. And it's easier to pivot in the beginning with an MVP funnel and manual sales qualification and sales closing process before you automate this part with a webinar funnel, for example. Okay, let's have a look at the next funnel. Before you start a webinar funnel, which is basically a call funnel at scale, you first want to make the call funnel right. And to make the call funnel right, you should first get your MVP funnel right, okay? So that's how you progressively build your funnel, always based on a validated part, on validated assets of your digital marketing and sales process. And then you can automate another part by creating more assets, typically videos and some tools or so that, yeah, you can spend less manual time, but more money on nurturing these people and developing them further, create interest, get them on a call and close them, okay? Remember this part, the first slide that I showed you, where I told you which boxes you need to tick in the mind of your clients. This always needs to happen, no matter which funnel you choose. The question is just, does it happen automatically? Then you invest money to nurture these people, or does it happen manually? Then you invest time, your time or time of people you already hired. So let's have a look how the call funnel looks like. You have an ad, it's the same ad again as for all the previous funnels I've shown you. And then you bring them on typically a long form landing page, where here on top you have a video typically, and then you have how it works and the benefits of this offer. And then here below you have a calendar. Okay, the problem with this sales funnel and with this particular landing page is that you don't get enough conversion data if you cannot spend like $500 to $1,000 a day, because a call costs you anywhere from $150 to $500. So you need to spend a lot of money to get enough data so you can optimize this funnel. That's why I recommend having a sideway landing page, a 3-step sideway landing page that breaks these parts into 3 steps. And these conversion rates between the steps is what you can use to optimize your funnel for. Okay, because you will just present your core value proposition of your offer on the first page. And when people click to the next page because they want to understand how it works in detail and eventually watch a video without having to give you their email address on the first page, because this increases the conversion barrier and you will get fewer conversions, which makes the optimization harder. Right? So you can get a lot more conversions and optimize your funnel a lot easier. And once every part of your 3-step sideway landing page is optimized, now you can combine it as a long landing page like this, but you know that all the parts of the landing page are optimized correctly and to get you maximum conversion rates. Essentially, that means on the last page of your 3-step sideway landing page, you have the calendar where people book a call. Okay. And then on this call, you can either go straight to the sales closing, but I recommend you first qualify people in a discovery call, and then you convert them into a paying client on a strategy call or internal language on a sales call. I recommend only using a call funnel when your MVP funnel works, where you promote a lead magnet, because this requires higher budgets. You need to win clients already so that you have more money that you can reinvest into this call funnel to make this call funnel work and produce enough meaningful quality conversions to train the algorithm with the right data. Okay, don't make the mistake, start too early with a call funnel. It will just burn your money and you will just end up being blind about what works and what doesn't, because simply you don't have enough conversion data. Okay, now let's look at the next one. This is by far the hardest funnel, but also the most profitable funnel if you make it work. Otherwise, it can burn your money really quickly. I burned a lot of money by trying to turn my proven funnel, which is an MVP funnel plus a call funnel, into a low ticket offer funnel because I just set it up and thought this is the holy grail of marketing. I will try to make this work profitably and get a return on ad spend initially of anywhere between 1 and 3. And I had good times, but that's 3 years ago, when I had a return on ad spend of 3 with a low ticket offer. But these times are gone, and as the advertising costs increase year after year, I had a hard time to just make this work, and I switched back to my MVP funnel plus call funnel. However, if you have a proven funnel and you are making, I would say 80, 100K or more per month in revenue with your call funnel or MVP funnel, then you could give it a chance. So it works like this. The ad is again pretty much the same, but here you promote your offer already straight. You don't need to mention your core offer because you want to get people to buy. It doesn't matter if like they are framed with your core offer or not, because this funnel will already make your business profitable and your marketing department profitable. So then you can upsell them to your core offer if they are the right fit, but you are already break even. So the next thing is just plain profit. Okay. That's why you don't frame them with your core offer. You just pitch your offer, which is typically, it can be a software, it can be a bundle of scripts, video course. It can be also a 1-hour workshop. Some people pay for a webinar if it's really good and has value and is not just a pitch, right? You need to have an offer that is of high value and that people can get and consume instantly so that they are motivated for the next step. Okay, so then here you typically also use a 3-step sideways landing page. And the first page is just the offer. The second page is how it works, your offer details. And the last one is the checkout page where people actually pay to get this free thing. And then next you have a calendar where people book a call. And these are the conversion rates, just similar to the call funnel, just with the difference that people pay here for the thing they get and don't just sign up for a free consultation call or for a free lead magnet, okay? So that's the hardest one, but it also has high potential because it will make your marketing profitable in the front end, and then everything else you sell in your back end will be plain profits, and you don't have to spend money on ads to convert these people if you have like setters reaching out to all the leads or clients who purchased your low ticket offer to see if they are interested in the backend offer. Okay, that's all it is about. You need this upsell, you need this backend conversion with a high ticket offer. Otherwise, it's close to impossible to make this funnel really, really profitable. So profitable that you can also pay for your overhead costs. Okay. So let me sum it up. Essential for all funnels is that you know your target audience really, really well. And by the way, if you are interested, we are offering a 1-hour AI sales funnel sprint where we create deep insights into your target audience, specifically tailored to your offer and your business. We create your positioning, a clear value proposition, and an offer that is irresistible so that your clients say yes to. You can then use this offer, the positioning and the insights into your target clients to start creating a funnel that converts traffic into leads and clients. I recommend starting with an MVP funnel then, but in the end, it's your choice. You don't need to listen to my recommendation, but you can. So the next thing is you need to have an offer that meets a market demand. You cannot sell something that people don't want, right? That costs a lot of money, and typically you need millions in ad budget to influence people until they believe they need what you want to sell. You should have something where there's a demand already, and there is so much demand, you just need to pick the right thing. And typically every business has something where there is a high market demand. You just need to find this one thing and then sell this one product or service of your business in the front end, in your marketing, where there is the highest market demand, okay? That's all it is about when we help clients to find their most profitable and most valuable offer. The next thing is the sales funnel structure needs to respect your budget. Now you know how to identify the best sales funnel. If you are just starting with a budget of 30 to 100 euros or dollars per day, then I recommend you start with the MVP funnel. Otherwise, you can already go to, for example, a call funnel. Don't start with a webinar funnel or the low ticket offer funnel. That's the hardest to make them work. You need to have gatekeeper questions. You must filter the wrong people from the right people so that you optimize for quality leads. That is essential. And then you need to respect your sales cycle. The longer your sales cycles, the longer typically your funnel is, because the longer it takes to influence people to make a purchase decision, right? In B2B, for example, where my other business, Bright Solutions, works, We have sales cycles from anywhere from 2 months to 6, 12, or even 24 months. But then the budget of these bigger projects is from 50K to 500K, right? And then it's worth having a marketing budget to target and retarget these people again and again so that they consider us when they are ready to buy. Good. First of all, if you feel you got some value and it helped you really understand what matters to make your marketing work profitably and which sales funnel you should choose to start getting leads and clients with paid ads, I would appreciate if you give me a like and subscribe. We are going to release new videos every week, helping you grow your business faster, more profitably, and with less work, thanks to the power of AI and sales funnels. Now, if you want to start for free and just see how our AI marketing system works, you can get your offer, your positioning, your value proposition, and also a KPI-based sales funnel plan created for free with this AI marketing tool where you feed in the offers you want to sell. And this tool suggests which pain points your target clients have that you can solve with your offer, and also what an irresistible offer should look like, specifically related to your services. And after this 1-hour sales funnel sprint, you will walk out with your offer done, positioning done, value proposition done. And optionally, if you want, you will also have a sales funnel plan that shows you which revenues and profits you can achieve with such a sales funnel. And if you want to implement your sales funnel, typically we recommend starting with the MVP funnel, unless you have a very high budget of 200 to 400 euros per day, then we can switch straight to the call funnel. Then we are also happy to show you how it works. So you find a link below this video, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers and happy scaling.